those are the people who tend to be the leadership.
But there are people outside of the realm of politics.
When you talk of democracy,
yes,
right? These are the people who look up to. In as much, even in your house, you're a leader of your house.
Yes.
So don't take it to the extent that whatever somebody in the leadership does, that I will do it in my house. No. For example, in Enugu State, where a sitting governor left the state for over 5 months, and some indigenous of that state, called Save Enugu Group, came in and started asking questions. Where is our governor? I'm now telling you the impunity in leadership in this country, which I believe some of your editors came to Enugu State to interview them. For the past 5 months, or going to 5 months now, we don't know where our governor is, until we saw a kind of a photo tricks that circulated all over, from the government house to the newspaper houses, front pages everywhere. And they said 3 governors from the governors forum went to see him. Lies number 2. Number 3, the press secretary of the government house came to tell Nigerians that those who are crying, where is our working governor? Because the governor of Enugu State have done so well that the state, the citizens, ought to know where their governor have been. And when we ask this question, the press secretary of the government has to call us attention seekers, even myself.
So you are a leader in Enugu State. Let's focus on you as an individual and other people in your category that can say we lead in a realm within our society. Do we want to say that within that realm that you belong, that we have good leaders? It's just in government that we don't have good leaders?
You see, this particular leadership, something you are talking about, has now descended down to even families.
Okay.
It's just like when you talk of corruption in this country. The corruption is totally immune in every family today. Not even in governance any longer. So the same thing applicable in leadership. But why do we say, like for example, in leadership, like in democracy, you talk of Mr. President. Who is the father? Before you now start descending to states, then to local government chairman. That's what will look as leadership. But in the totality of leadership in this country, we have failed. We have totally failed. And that's why I made the reference to Enugu State.
Okay. Thank you very much. Because we have to wrap up, let me ask Mr. Emefiele, what's your thought on leadership? And we have to round up now. What's your thought on leadership? Do you think we have good leaders in Nigeria? Do we need to begin to develop fresh, good, new leaders?
I would say yes, and I would say no.
Okay. Explain.
Leadership, it does not necessarily belong to government circles. Leadership, like you said, is in the family circle. It's also outside government in the private sector. Yeah. But if you are referring to what the former speaker said, in terms of stating that Nigeria's problem is because they have leaders whose followers do not take care of them, I don't really understand what he is talking about.
No, it's the other way around.
How did he put it?
He said that Nigerians have leaders who do not care about them.
Nigerians have leaders who do not care about those whom they are leading.
Yes.
Fine. Because what I actually wanted to say, that was the perspective I wanted to approach it from. Leaders are supposed to be servant leaders because people put you there to serve them. And if it is the other way around, that is to say those who are in leadership positions see themselves as demigods, then there is a problem. Those are not leaders. They are rulers.
So in which class would you put Nigerian leaders?
Nigerian leaders, over time, it is not necessarily within this regime right now. Over time, we have had rulers, not leaders. A leader should be exemplary in his character. A leader should show the way. A leader should lead and people will follow. A leader should be such that when he is out and he tells my people, this is where we are going, they follow him. because we believe, we have faith in that our leader.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Final word, and I want you to make that your final sentence on the issue of centenary celebration. Nigeria will be 100 years old from the day of amalgamation till now by 2014. Efforts are being put together to celebrate it in a big way. What's your thought? And if you have a chance to tell those who are trying to organize it, what will be the one word of advice you give them?
Sobriety.
Okay.
Let's be sober. Let's reflect on what has gone on over the last 100 years, especially over the last 50 years of our national life, because we've been managing ourselves for that period. Let's reflect on everything that has gone on up until 2014, and let's look at leadership. As you said, we have had good leaders, we have had bad leaders, we have had drifting leaders. Okay, and I think that when you look at people like, say for instance, Godswill Akpabio, you get hope. If you see people like Sullivan Chime, you feel hopeful for the future of Nigeria. And then you see other governors who talk a lot and get a lot of column inches and a lot of airtime in the media, and yet do very little.
Okay.
You wonder
We've got to wrap
what's
up
going
now.
on with the leadership.
In your closing remark, I want you to also say something about the oil subsidy scam and the oil theft in Nigeria.
Thank you. You see, this fresh subsidy scam, there's no doubt about it. People, for example, the House of Rep, the committee which was led by Lawal, came out with their reports. We saw what happened, and that's what has been happening generally, generally of all the probe we have had in this country. When they now find out that Lawal's reports have incriminated some people in the high places, the next thing you had was Ike Imokede's committee, who was totally in deep in the same business, to oversee another different committee. And finally, you don't hear anything about it any longer. And that is why the CNPP had a press conference and gave the finance minister 7 days to get us all the reports on fuel subsidy. Because of the Freedom of Information Act, she never obeyed it. That is to tell you the excesses of people, the executives. They will make law, they don't obey the law.
Did the CNPP then take the next step of going
We
to
have
court?
gone to court today. We have filed last Friday.
Good.
Femi Falana has filed our case against her. So if you look at this situation,
Because that's what the Freedom of Information Bill says.
of course,
Yes.
if you look at this situation, you now find out if the executives cannot obey the simple law, what else again? Where are we going? Because the first subsidy scandal is now going into like the power probe before. And that is why they were able to cage somebody like Capital Oil, who supplies almost 35% of PMS and kerosene in this country, and close his business because of individual interest, selfish interest.
Okay, we have to close now. I want to say thank you very much, Mr. Sam Emefiele. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to go on and on about this, but there's so much happening in Nigeria. State of the nation is so broad as a subject to discuss. So we want to say thank you, Mr. Sam Emefiele. On my right-hand side here, Mr. Babatunde Badamasi, Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you very much. And then back to my left, Chief Willie Ezugu, who's the Secretary General of CNPP. Thank you all for coming on Sunrise, and we will hope to have you again, because state of our nation will always be an issue that we will discuss on this program. Thank you very much. Sunrise is not going away. We'll be back shortly. We'll just take a short break. And when we're back, we'll move on to the next subject.